Hi, this is Chris Long from Lakeview Cottage Kids, and in this video tutorial what I'd like to do is show you the basic beginnings of crocheting in a straight line back and forth. So to start with, we're going to learn the slip stitch, chaining, and single crochet all in one thing. This should get you started, and you could actually, if you knew these three things, you could actually make yourself a scarf, you could make coasters, you could make little mats for under plants, you could make table runners, and so it just kind of becomes endless what you can do even by knowing just the basics of these three things: the slip stitch, the the single crochet, and chaining. So to start with, what we've got is what's called number 4 worsted yarn, and I'm using a pink, and for purposes of the demonstration I'm using an H crochet hook, which is kind of middle of the road. So what we're going to do is first show how to do the slip stitch, and I've got the end of my yarn here, and what you do to do this is you just take your yarn and kind of cross it over like so. So you're just going to cross it over like so. And then you bring the yarn up through that loop that you made, bring it up and pull it tight. And that's making your slip stitch. Let's try it again. What you do, you take your yarn, and I kind of use my finger, kind of turn it like so, and actually the yarn is crossed. I'm bringing the yarn up under through the loop and kind of pulling it tight. And I can put my crochet hook into it, pull that up a little bit, it slips up nice and tight. You don't want to make it too tight, but that's how you start, and that's called the slip stitch. Okay? Now, the next part of the tutorial is how to do a chain. So you always have to start with a slip stitch, and we're actually going to do 11 chains for our demonstration. And what you do with this, and now I get my tension, or the way I kind of hold my yarn, I do it different than maybe a number of people, but I kind of put my finger through and kind of loop the yarn around my finger twice to kind of keep a control over the yarn. You can do it however you want. Some people don't do any looping and they just put this over the top. So it's up to you, but basically what we want to do is we're holding on to kind of the tail right below the slip stitch that we made, and we're going to put our crochet hook underneath the yarn that's coming. This is coming from the skein of yarn. Okay, this is called yarning over, and we just yarn over and pull it right through that first slip stitch. Now, many people tend to get really tight stitches right now, or chains. You don't want to be tight. Kind of think this has to be loose, not so loose that it's all floppy all over, but you don't want it so tight that you're pulling it really hard through the next loop. Now, we made one chain. That's actually called a chain. We're going to make 11, so we need 10 more. So we hold on to the bottom of our tail below our first chain, and we yarn over, pull it through. Now we have 2 chains. Yarn over, there's 3. Yarn over, 4. Yarn over, 5. Yarn over, 6. Yarn over, 7. Yarn over, 8. Yarn over, 9, and yarn over 10, and we want our last one, yarn over 11. There's our nice chain, and as you look at this, those chains should look pretty even. If they don't, you'll want to go back and practice. And I know as you start beginning to do chains, sometimes one looks really tight and one looks really big and one kind of looks okay. What you want to do is, if that's not working out for you, just pull the whole thing apart, start again. And you want to get it as even as you can. Alright, now the next question might be, why in the world did she do 11 chains as opposed to 10, which seems kind of more of a normal number? The reason is and you'll see this, is that ultimately I would like to have this little practice swatch 10 crochets across. But what happens is we're going to use up our 11th chain in our first turn. So that's going to happen next. So far we've learned in this video how to do a slip stitch and how to do chaining. And we've made 11 chains, and now what we want to do is come back on our row to make our first row of what is going to be the third thing that we're learning in this particular video, and that's called a single crochet, which will come in handy. You'll use it all the time in the work that you'll be doing as you go on with your crochet career or hobby. Now what you do is, again, you hold your yarn however you feel comfortable. I always loop it twice around my finger on my left pointer finger, but if you don't want to hold it that way, you can do however feels comfortable. But what you want to do for a single crochet is you skip that 11th crochet and you go bring your crochet hook into the next chain. Push it through, yarn over, so you now have 2 stitches on your crochet hook, yarn over again and pull through 2. That's your first chain. Next, you do the exact same thing, although we're not skipping any chains anymore. It was just that first 11th one to get us turned around. You put your crochet hook into the chain, yarn over, pull it through so you have 2 stitches on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. There's your second chain. Next, put into the third, for your third chain, push in, yarn over, pull up so you have 2 on your crochet hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And so far we've got 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and you can see them, but you can also count by looking at these little stitches. They kind of look like little V's. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 single crochets. For the fourth one, exactly the same. In, yarn over, pull up for 2, yarn over again and pull through the 2. Into the chain, yarn over, pull up so you have 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you keep going all the way across into the chain, yarn over, pull up so you have 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, you can tend to get kind of tight on this, so you want to kind of keep thinking loose, loose. Not so much that you have all kinds of floppy loops, but loose enough that you're not pulling so tight. So again, we put into the chain, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the chain, yarn over, pull through, so we have 2, yarn over, pull through. We have 2 left, put into the chain, yarn over, pull up, so we have the 2 on our hook, yarn over, pull through. And finally we have the last stitch, and you push into that stitch, once again yarn over, so you have 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And sometimes I'll even do a little tightening up of that last little stitch. So now you have a nice row of 10 single crochets, and you can tell that by counting these little V stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got it. So far we've done the slip stitch, we did 11 chains, and now we've done 10 single crochets. I don't want to just leave you here wondering, well, how do I get back and turned around and go back and forth to make that scarf or make that coaster. What you want to do here, and this is something you'll find will follow you throughout your crocheting life, is that at the end of the row you'll want to do a certain number of chains depending on the stitch you're using. Now, single crochet is our smallest type of stitch. So we're going to do at the end of each row from now on 1 chain, just like we did when we first made our row. 1 chain, and now we're going to turn the whole thing around to go back the other way. Now you'll remember we have 10 single crochets. We no longer have 11. We used that 11th one on the first row to get us turned around. To take the place of that 11th chain, we did a chain at the end of our row. That turns us around. And now to get going, we go right into the first chain, or excuse me, the first single crochet. Push your crochet hook in under the 2 little V form stitch. That's the first single crochet. Push in, yarn over, bring it through the 2. Push in under those 2 little V's, or it's the top of the single crochet. Yarn over, bring up 1, yarn over, go through 2. And you do that all the way across until you have a row of 10 more single crochets. Once again, keeping your tension nice and loose so that you're not really struggling to pull this through. Again, push in, yarn over, pull up 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Go right in, yarn over, pull up 1, yarn over, pull through 2. And you do that all the way across until you get to the very last stitch. And that one looks like this. Sometimes people get confused, but just look down. You want to see that little V. Go right underneath that, yarn over, pull up 1, yarn over, pull through 2. And now you have 2 rows of single crochet. And just to finish up our tutorial, to turn around, we chain 1, turn all of our work around, and now we're going to go back right into the first single crochet. And again, if things get a little bit too loose or too tight, just kind of stop, regroup, get your yarn held the way you want it to, and now yarn over, have 2 stitches on your hook, yarn over, pull through, and you're ready to go again. So again, if you have any questions, just go back in the tutorial and take a look. If you have any questions for me, put them in the comments section or email me. Again, practice. You've got the slip stitch, single crochet, and the chaining that you can make some projects right away once you've mastered these. Once again, I'm Chris Long from Lakeview Cottage Kids. Happy crocheting!